Hello, Liz. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Will. How you doing?
I'm great. Congratulations on Space Cadet. I thought it was wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
I understand you wrote the movie in addition to directing, of course. So I was curious about the, genesis of this project and, if maybe a past, classic movie inspired, the story or, how it all started for you. I'd love to hear more.
Yeah. Well, I was looking for another movie to write and direct, and I knew that I wanted to do a big comedy. And so I was just sort of like looking at the world through that lens. And then there was this news item a few years ago where NASA announced that they had their first ever class of astronaut candidates that was 50-50 male female. And that just caught my eye as like an interesting news item. And I started to read about it and was just really curious, like, who are these women who had accomplished this feat, who were entering this traditionally male dominated field? And the more I learned about what it took to get to the point where you are, one of a dozen people picked out of 20,000 applicants to then be able to try to be an astronaut. It's so incredibly impressive to even make it that far. And I loved the idea of a movie that had those type of female characters in it who are like kind of more like the women I know around me, where it's frightening how much they're accomplishing. And so I knew that was a world that I wanted to enter. And then I was looking at, who's the heroine who I can get behind. Like, I don't really identify with sort of type A people who have their ducks in a row. And
Me neither.
yeah. And I'm not a scientist, so I wasn't going to write somebody who knew everything about science. I sort of had to figure out like who's someone I could write who that I could write with my writer brain who would convincingly be a good astronaut. And I looked to Legally Blonde quite seriously as a model for telling a story that's not about a person changing to become a hero. It's about the world around them, giving them the chance to be a hero. And I found this character in the form of like a Florida girl. Like, what's a Florida girl? She's somebody who's outside all the time. She knows about whales. She knows how to fix a boat. You know, she's like kind of spiritual. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, and Legally Blonde came to mind for me in a good way, of course, but I wanted to let you mention it first. I didn't, in case, you know, how dare you? Or I don't know. I didn't know how you would, but yeah, of course. I mean, that's a great movie, and this is like Legally Blonde in space almost. But Emma Roberts, I mean, she's a very unique character. She's not just, and I thought she nailed the part. I mean, when you were writing it, did you ever think you'd have such a talented cast? I mean, the list goes on between her and Tom Hopper and that whole supporting, cast. It's so impressive, and I loved everyone's characters.
I mean, no, I feel really lucky. I don't think about actors as I'm writing because I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. And I also don't want to write someone so specific that if another actor plays it, it's just not going to work.
Right.
So it was just about like, who's the person who could be Rex? And that's Emma. Like, she's garrulous and super funny. And she understood what the movie was. Like, she was like, Goldie Hawn, Private Benjamin, like, I get it, I get it. And she's really, she's interested in space and space travel. And it's just like perfect. And no, I think that there are many incredibly talented actors out there. And the trick is like creating material where you get to cast people who aren't super famous. Like, that's what's so great about doing an ensemble, is that you get to pepper in all these people where it's their first job or their third job.
Right.
And that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I love the end result, and I can't wait for everyone else to see it. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Will. Thanks. It was nice to chat with you.
Yeah, of course. Likewise. I hope we can do this on the next one.
Right on.